Hey, what's going on, guys? So I'm making this video to help you out since I'm not in school today, to guide you through the process of the project. But if you can follow along and understand what's going on in this video and use your classmates who you're working with, you should have a pretty good idea of how to complete the project. Basically, in your project, you're making a pool with a sidewalk around it, and then a pool with a sidewalk around it, or a sidewalk on the side, and then a grassy area. But this problem is very, very similar to the first one, which will guide you through all of them. Okay. So the biggest thing with all these videos is that you need to make a picture, because pictures help a lot with word problems. So our problem is we have a rectangle lawn that is 24 feet wide by 32 feet long. So right off the bat, I'm going to build our lawn. Okay. So if you look here, a rectangular lawn that is 24 feet by 32 feet. Okay, so we have the first part done. Now we know that a sidewalk will be built along the inside edges of all four sides. Well, since it's built along the inside edges, I'm going to put our values out here actually. Okay, and 32. Okay, now our sidewalk is being built on the inside, so it's going to be taking away from our lawn. And just imagine that these are all equidistant. I'm just not a perfect drawer. Okay? So now this is all going to become sidewalk. So it's going to take away from the beautiful green luscious lawn that we had. Okay? Now, the biggest thing kids don't realize here is, do they tell you what the width of the sidewalk is? No. But if we keep reading along, we know that the remaining lawn, aka this inside part here, is 425 square feet. How wide will the walk be? So we need to find out what is the width of this whole sidewalk that we just built. Okay? And since we don't know what that is, we can just put it as this value from here. So basically from here to here, let's just say is x. Similarly, this value here from here is also x, because the sidewalk is the same distance all the way around. Okay, and then that to that is x. Okay, so now we have to find out what is the value of this. What is the value of this rectangle here? Okay, the easiest way to think of it is begin with what I was giving you before. So if we look, originally this whole length was 32. Okay, but if you notice, this sidewalk took off an x chunk here and then another x chunk here, so similar up here. So it used to be a length of 32, this part, but we took an x chunk here, an x chunk there, so we're going to subtract 2x. That is probably the hardest thing that kids don't really understand, is that they subtract this 1x, but they don't realize that there's another chunk right here being taken off that's also an x. Okay, so it's 32 minus 1x minus another x, so 32 minus x. Okay, for your problem you're doing for your project, the sidewalk's on the outside, so you're not going to be subtracting, you'll do something else. But it follows the same idea. Similarly, if we look at the 24, which is the length, okay, it was 24, but again, we took away an x chunk here, we took away an x chunk there, so it's 24 minus 2x. Okay, so now when we factor or FOIL this out or distribute, it's going to be 32 times 24, which is going to give us 768. Then it's going to be 32 times a negative 2x, which is negative 64x. Negative 2x times 24 is a negative 48x. Okay, and then a negative 2x times a negative 2x gives us a positive 4x squared. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write this over here, simplified, and I'm actually going to put it in descending order. So you get 4x squared minus 112x plus 768. So now this is the area of the whole interior, aka our grassy area that's left after we put in our sidewalk. Okay, If you go back to the word problem, it tells us that the remaining lawn is an area of 425. So we'll set that equal to 425. Okay? So you have 4x squared minus 112x plus 768 equals 425. Now we all know that x is the value, the width of our sidewalk. Okay? Now this is a polynomial, precisely more a quadratic, and we know from our test we took and from all the lessons we've done is that in order to solve a quadratic, it must be equal to 0. Ours is equal to a 425, so to make that equal to 0, we're going to subtract 425 from both sides. This is also the other big error kids run into, is they don't subtract it from both sides. You're left with a 4x squared minus 112x plus 343 is equal to 0. Okay, now that we know that we have our equation equal to 0, we can factor this. First step of factoring a trinomial, factor out a GCF. However, we can't because 4 does not go into 112 or 343. And also, you can't factor out an x. So we factor, it's going to be the hard one, but to save you guys the headache, because you are all pros at factoring since you already took your test, it'll be 2x, which will give us the 4x squared, and then it's going to be a minus 49 minus 7. Okay. Now, in order to solve this, we must take both sets of parentheses and set them equal to 0, like we've been doing. So 2x minus 49 equals 0. 2x minus 7 equals 0. Add 49. 2x equals 49. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. And we get a one value is x is equal to 49 over 2. Or that's also equal to, what's that? 49 over 2 is equal to 24.5. Okay. The other value, we add 7, 2x is equal to 7, divide by 2, divide by 2. X is equal to 7 halves, which is equal to 3.5. So now you're going to say, hey, Mr. Flores, we got two answers for x, okay? And in all of the other problems you've done, one of these x's was negative. So we automatically knew that that was the wrong answer since, well, negative things can't be lengths, yada, yada, yada. But if we look back, it says that the one sidewalk length could be 24.5. If you notice, one length of the lawn is 24 by itself. You can't have the sidewalk be bigger than one side of the lawn and still have a lawn. So automatically, this answer is incorrect. And our final answer is the 3.5. Make sure you label it so it's 3.5 feet. Oops, pen's not working. 3.5 feet wide. And that is your final answer. Okay. Your project is very, very, very similar to this example, except our sidewalk is going on the outside of the pool, not the inside. So you're not going to be subtracting a 2x. You might be adding it. Gee, I don't know. A little hint. But if you follow through this example, you might have to watch it a couple times to really understand it. Make sure you work with your group. That's the key factor. Work with your group. And I hope this helps. Sorry again, I can't be there, but hey, I had to go to my sister's graduation. So, but if you guys have questions, ask each other, and make sure you watch this video. See you guys next week.